Wait, it was double XP this weekend? I haven't been paying any attention, so honestly, I had no idea. All right, how's it going, everybody? So I've seen a lot of people recently running around with this cheesy fucking swap class here. This class isn't like a new concept or anything like that. It's been around for basically the entire game, but recently with the buffs to the marksman rifles, it's been basically everywhere from what I've seen. There's nothing really special about it. It's just the Kar 98 with all the quick scoping stuff on it, and then a secondary with the carbine that's literally the same thing. And then the idea is that you use the Kar for kind of like longer range engagements, and you use the carbine for like the close range stuff, because that thing's basically just a shotgun with a sniper scope. So I'm just gonna run around with that today and see how it does. I figure everybody else on the game these days is being super cheesy, why not join them? I haven't really talked about it that much since the patch, but dude, the Kar 98 is absolutely ridiculous now that it's been buffed. I know that I like mentioned it in my video that I made about the patch, like when they buffed all the snipers and stuff, but you know, because of like the Rytech coming out and me doing like the sniper challenges and stuff for it, I haven't really had much of an opportunity to run around with the Kar for like an extended period of time. And I gotta say, man, this might be the easiest gun in the game to use, at least as far as like the snipers are concerned. Like PC might be a different story for sure. I know the PC players have like their own list of what's good and what's not good, but if you're playing on a controller with aim assist, this thing is absolutely ridiculous. It requires like practically no sniping capabilities to be able to use it effectively. I say as I miss a really easy shot right there, of course. Oh my god. That's the same guy that was trying to snipe before. I noticed he swapped to his MP5 real fucking quick after I beat him twice. What the fuck was that guy doing back there? He's just sitting in the back of the map. I think the Kar may have finally outdone the MK2 as the easiest, like, sniper thing to use. Because, like, the MK2 is cheesy and spammy also, but, like, the Kar does more damage, and now ADS is basically just as fast. That's actually ridiculous that that guy almost just won a gunfight with me at that distance with an M4. Fuck. Oh my god, I can't believe the carbine actually killed that guy. That's usually a hit marker at that distance. I guess the buff must have done something after all. Yeah, that is the one thing. I'm actually really surprised to see that more people aren't running around with the MK2 after the buff, because I know they buffed the damage range so you don't like need the longest barrel on it anymore. I never used the long barrel anyway, really, because I never really saw the point. The whole point of the MK2 is to be able to ADS and, like, shoot as many bullets as quickly as possible. So I feel like adding a long barrel on it just kind of defeated the whole purpose of the weapon. Yeah, this class is really easy to use. And also, I'm using the shortest barrel on the Kar. Like, you can make this thing probably even easier to use if you put a longer barrel on it to, like, save you from all of the hit markers that you would normally get. The only thing I really use the long barrel on the Kar for anymore is the iron sights Kar. I prefer the Kar with iron sights because it feels a little bit less cheesy to me now that using it with the sniper scope just feels entirely too easy. Like, you barely have to try to be able to hit people, especially with aim assist. Like, with aim assist, this gun is absolutely insane. Just because of how easy it is to hit, like, drag scopes and stuff with this Kar. Like, the aim assist slows you down so much. Oddly enough, it feels like the aim assist does less for the carbine than it does for the Kar. I don't know if that's intentional or if it's just got something to do with the way the weapon, like, works. That is the one thing I have noticed, though, is with this Kar buff, a lot of people are running around with the classes that you used to see a lot back when Overkill was a blue perk still. Because before, you used to see all kinds of snipers running around with like MP5 secondaries, M4 secondaries, and basically if anybody tried to challenge them in any way at a close distance, they would just swap to their fully auto and not even attempt to quickscope. And that's kind of the way it is now with the Kar. I see a lot of people running around with the Kar because it's super easy to use and stuff, but they all have on Overkill and they have like MP5 secondaries. This is very weird. People usually don't move this much on Piccadilly. I'm very confused. Yeah, I don't know about this class, man. This thing's kind of a... It's kind of a cheese machine. Like that, I don't know about that play of the game right there. That was, that sure was something, wasn't it? Truth be told, I'm actually kind of glad that I've started getting into using all these overkill classes because it's giving me a reason to stop using Ghost. Not that I think Ghost is like bad or anything like that, but it's definitely this game's crutch perk. I'd say it's less of a crutch perk than it has been in some other games because also Ghost is far and away the best perk in its class and it's honestly not even close. In my opinion, there's honestly not another red perk that's even worth taking over Ghost. Unless you're using Overkill, there's literally no point. None of them are even remotely close to worth it. So this is gonna sound like a really strange complaint, and I have no idea why, but private matches on this game are kind of terrible, and I'm not really sure why that's the case. Like, typically before I start playing, I'll usually do like a warm-up game against bots just in a private match, especially if I'm playing the way I am right now, where I haven't been playing very consistently over the last like week. But I like to play just a quick game against bots just to, you know, try and get my shot back under me and just get used to playing this game again. I gotta say, man, private matches versus bots are some of the worst that I have ever played in any game, not just Call of Duty. For one thing, the bots on this game are actually really badly programmed. Like, they'll just shoot at you behind walls and shit. They don't give a fuck. If you play against bots for a consistent enough amount of time, you will notice them like start shooting at you before you're around corners and shit like that. And aiming aside, the play styles are really terrible too. If a bot spawns in with any kind of sniper rifle, even if it's an EBR, they will, without fail, find a corner, just off in a corner somewhere. It's not at a choke point. It's not at, you know, anywhere that people normally go by. They'll just find a corner and sit there with like a claymore, MW2 style, just drop a claymore and sit in a corner like they're, you know, somebody who's never played COD before and don't know where to go. And the lag is really bad too. Like, the lag in private matches is atrocious. Every private match that I play, even if it's just with my friends, it doesn't even have to be against bots. Every private match I play, the ping just randomly spikes up and down. You know, my frames skip. It's all kinds of stuff like that. It's actually ridiculous. Don't get me wrong, I don't want them devoting any kind of time. What the fuck just happened there? I don't want them devoting any kind of time to fixing this issue, because I don't think it's a problem. I think they should be focusing on other things. But it is really strange to me that, like, I play a lot of bot games on Modern Warfare Remastered, and the bots on that game actually play pretty well. The bots are intelligent, but they're not like super aimbotty unless you're on the highest difficulty. They actually play the objective. They don't just kind of parade around the map. And above all else, they play like real people. They don't fucking find a corner and drop a claymore and just sit there like that fucking animal. You know, I changed my mind. Maybe this is accurate to the way bots play, because that guy just did that. You know, I'm just giving up talking on this point. It's just not gonna... What the hell was that? Where did he come from? This man's creeping around like a fucking porcupine with his little sticks. So as a follow-up to what I was talking about in my last video, I started my new playthrough of Persona 5, and I know I said I wanted to like go a lot quicker and like try and get to the content that I wanted as fast as possible, but I'm actually kind of taking this a little bit slower than I was initially planning to. Like, I'm still going pretty quick. I'm actually going at a pretty good pace. I managed to finish the first dungeon and get like halfway through the second, and the amount of time it usually takes me just to finish the first dungeon, but I'm still trying to kind of experience the game for what it is. One thing that I did for this is I cranked up the difficulty, and I'm really feeling that. Like, that's actually very noticeable. The thing with the difficulties in Persona 5 is on the harder difficulties, you deal less damage and take more damage. So with me having cranked up the difficulty, for fights that I would normally be able to like finish pretty easily, those are actually like kind of challenging for me now. There's stuff that normally wouldn't even do that much damage that's just one-shotting my party, and it's actually crazy. Now, I'm not complaining or anything. Like, I'm actually really enjoying this difficulty spike, because what it's doing is it's really forcing me to have like a solid understanding of the combat mechanics. Because like usually what I do is I just play Persona on normal difficulty. I don't go for any like higher difficulty or anything like that. And on normal difficulty, you can not really pay a whole lot of attention to the combat mechanics. Like, obviously you can't be using stuff that like opponents are strong against all the time. But if you're playing Persona on hard, you really do need to be able to fully leverage every aspect of the combat. Like using items, for example. I think on the normal difficulties, I almost never used combat items. They have items in the game that can like inflict status effects and like deal different kinds of damage and stuff like that. I never used to use those types of items before, but now I use them almost every battle. And I notice I'm like running out of resources quicker, obviously because my fights are a bit more drawn out, and you know, I'm having to use more abilities to be able to compensate for my lack of damage and stuff. What? Where'd the bullet go? I'm watching this kill cam. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Is this kid cheating? Was he cheating or was that the lag? I honestly couldn't tell. But yeah, so the Persona difficulty spike has definitely added a bit of enjoyment to the experience for me. And another thing that I've done is I've kind of set a limitation to where I'm not allowing myself to use the powerful equipment that I kind of carried over from my last playthrough. Because as I mentioned last time, on New Game Plus, you can keep the equipment you finish the game with, basically. Which obviously, you know, if I'm using like late game equipment in the early game, that's definitely gonna help me out a lot in terms of surviving these early game fights. So overall, I'm actually making pretty good progress through the game. Like I said, I'm getting through things in a timely fashion, but I'm still enjoying them. I also learned about some new mechanics that I didn't know about before that I'm actually pretty excited to be able to try out. So like one thing I found out about is, and this is kind of a basic thing, like if you play Persona, you're probably gonna laugh about this. There are like ultimate personas for each like class, right? Like there's like an ultra powerful persona for each class. It's like the best thing you can fuse or summon or whatever for that class, right? And the problem is they're all like leveled in the 90s. And normally in Persona, you can't actually fuse a persona that's more high level than you currently are. So I used to think like, well, what's the point of these super powerful personas? They're all over level 90, and like the odds of you getting to level 90 in a playthrough are super duper low. And even if you do manage to get to level 90 and summon one of these personas, you're gonna be so over leveled that you don't even need them anyway. But then I found out that apparently there's a certain social link in the game that if you do it, you'll unlock the ability to fuse personas that are a higher level than you. So I'm definitely excited to try that out. I definitely avoided going for some of these like higher level personas in the past because I kept thinking like, oh shit, I gotta grind to like level 90 or something ridiculous like that in order to get them. But now that I know I don't have to do that, I am 100% gonna go for these things. And those personas will definitely come in handy when the difficulty starts getting pretty crazy, because it's not too bad for right now, but as we get towards the late game, I'm wondering how bad this difficulty spike's gonna like bite me in the ass. All right, I'm wrapping this video up there before my brain literally explodes. Just as a quick update, I'm working on some other videos currently on different games. Thank God. I know I've said a few times now that I'm gonna start posting other content, and now finally I'm starting to get around to doing that. So currently I've got another COD Zombies video in the works, similar to the one that I posted before if you saw that. And also I'm working on recording some other games, and I'm seeing kind of like what sorts of videos I can make out of them. I'm not sure when you'll see those, but I'm looking forward to making those. Honestly, I'm looking forward to playing anything that is not this. Because holy shit, Modern Warfare, this game's got some issues.